Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with
Okay, we got a good show today. On today's show, we're going to be talking about how to transform your e-commerce store into an iconic brand. So I think that's going to be really interesting. We talk about Amazon quite a bit, but how about your e-commerce store into an iconic brand? Our guest is an 8-figure e-commerce seller, private coach, with the emphasis on marketing for e-commerce. He's also the co-founder of Boost Rooster, an innovative suite of software tools to help Amazon sellers market their products. He's a returning guest, Ryan Rigney, and I can't wait to start talking to him about this. So if you do know people that want to build that iconic brand, listen, there's going to be a lot of good tips today. But before we get to it, I want to just thank our sponsor, Ahrefs, Webmaster Tools. Looking to become more of an Amazon seller? Start increasing your sales with your own website with the help of Ahrefs. With their new, very advanced and very free SEO tool, Ahrefs will help you launch inbound sales from your very own website with ease while you're listening to Lunch with Norm. So sit back, relax, and let Ahrefs do all the work. So take control of your business and check out Ahrefs Webmaster Tools at ahrefs.com/AWT. That's ahrefs.com/AWT. Okay, so where is the boy wonder?
Hello. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, sir. You know, we have the producer for the people right above me.
Yes, I heard that he
The
is
producer
in town.
for the people.
He's still there.
Yes.
Yes. My brother, aka my brother Hayden, who was on the show once before. I think he got a good review from the folks from the Beer Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, enough about Hayden. It's my show, okay?
All right, okay.
But smash those like buttons. We do have a really great show today. So if you have any questions, put them on over into the comment section. Let me see. If you haven't yet, please join our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and e-commerce collective. We've got 2 giveaways today, which it's going to be awesome. And if you've missed an episode, if you're looking for more, you can check out our YouTube channel. That's Norman Farrar. Or you can search Lunch with Norm and you'll be able to find all the episodes. And yeah, nice, Simon.
There we go. Yep. There we go. I don't know. It's a tight one. Kelsey
there
and
we
Hayden.
go. I like
Kelsey
this.
and
Hayden was good. Kelsey's great and beard certified.
All
yes.
right.
Thank you, Roslyn. Okay. But anyways, if you have any questions, put them on over in the comment section and share out this episode. Get those likes a-flowing. And yeah, if you're interested in more beard, you can check out our membership program where we can do Q&A sessions, guest lessons, free SOPs, all that good stuff on our Lunch with Norm website. Just check out and click the membership button there. But
all right,
that's it.
Very good. So questions, just throw them over to the comment section. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Welcome. Where are you, sir?
Oh, hey.
Hey, Ryan. How's it going?
Hey,
how you like that? I screwed up the name of your app.
Yeah, you got it eventually, though.
I did, but you know,
I was sitting here like, I don't think I can say anything. Yeah, it seems like the show dynamics have changed a little bit with Kelsey's brother, huh?
Yeah. The producer for the people. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Last time I was here, I think it was just Kelsey. So it looks like he's
very touchy about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I try not to say anything about Hayden. But all right, sir, for those of us who don't know you and what you do, can you just give us a brief description?
Yeah. So I guess a short history of how I'm here talking to you today. I was working as a lawyer a couple of years back, and I built an e-commerce business on the side. I found that I liked that a lot more than being a lawyer, so I gradually transitioned into doing that full time. During that process, I started helping people online, on Facebook particular, how to grow their brand, and I was coaching people. Escalated into coaching people privately. I built a software tool on the side while I was doing that to solve some problems that of the people I was coaching, and I ended up doing just a lot of different things, super overwhelmed, I guess. And over the last like year or so, I've tried to dial that back and do less things, especially with like, I had a daughter about a year ago, and I was like trying to do the dad thing and not do like 15 projects and balance so many things. So what I'm doing now is not doing private coaching anymore. And there's a reason for that, and kind of relates to like one of the things I want to talk about today that I'm working on. So yeah, what I'm working on now is I'm working with a group of people, and what we do is we invest in or acquire outright e-commerce brands. Kind of sounds similar to an aggregator, but it's a little bit different in that we don't just buy like or invest in things that are like at the top. What we do is we look at brands that we feel have iconic potential, which we can kind of go into, and we feel we can grow over the long term. And it's not necessarily like volume, quantity over quality, it's quality over quantity. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why we made that distinction and why we're focusing on that. But that's what I'm doing mostly now, instead of like the private coaching and all the stuff that's super time consuming. I want to invest in brands that I feel like I can have a personal impact on and grow those. So.
Oh, fantastic. We'll talk a little bit more of that a bit later on. For your app, and we don't have an affiliate link or anything, but can you just describe it? I like to give some options here to Amazon sellers.
Yeah. So Boost Rooster, we were really I'd say like the first like done for you chatbot launch tool for Amazon sellers. We built this specifically because there was a lot of friction in the product launch process. People were using chatbots to launch products, and as far as I know, like I was one of the first people to do that, and I was teaching people this very complicated, elaborate like process where they had to connect like 5 tools to get the launch to work. So what we did is we made a software tool that simplified that, so people could make the launch in just a couple of minutes. So that's like the first tool that we made. Then we added on a second tool in the last year that helps people make their product insert, so the design for it, and also the landing page and the whole funnel process.
I didn't know it did that.
Similar. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we have those 2 things, and it's really like, it's not necessarily built for like the elite like marketing guy who wants things like super customized and maybe has like $100 million, $50 million business. It's like the people that are just trying to get something that works and get it in a cost-effective way quickly so they can test it. So it's like the everyday Amazon seller who wants like the higher level strategy in their business.
I like it. Okay, so let's dive into the topic today, turning your e-commerce site into an iconic brand. So I've talked, actually the original name of this podcast was The Rise of the Micro Brands, with the help of Amazon.
Right.
Everybody was a micro brand. And it's funny because when you try to describe a micro brand, a lot of people think that they're a brand and they're doing, I'm doing $10,000 a month, I'm doing $100,000 a month. No, you're a micro brand. And anyways, getting it to that next level where it's a household name, you're starting to see that. There are some companies now that have become household names, and they took off from Amazon, like Anchor.
Right.
Anchor's everywhere now. And that started out, just as an Amazon brand, but it's I think it's a high quality brand. Did a great job with their quality. So anyways, let's talk about you and building an iconic brand. Where do you start?
Yeah. So I do a lot of vetting of brands now. Like basically most of my days just spent like trying to find the brands that we see potential to grow. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned Anchor, because one of my partners in this venture, he was actually back in 2016 when he was really active on Amazon. He was the number 2 Amazon private label seller on the platform, and the number 1 was Anchor. So when I made this venture and decided to go in this direction, I really wanted people that knew like how to operate at that highest level, not just on the Amazon side, but also building brands that people like really, really know. His brand was called Caseology. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it was a cell phone case brand, and he got acquired. So
nice.
That's one of the partners. So what do we look for when we're looking if a brand can be iconic? Well, when I think of iconic, I think, are people proud to buy those products over and over again? Are they sharing it with people without being asked to? Is it something that's like where customer loyalty, you can actually sell them more things over and over again, versus where you see a lot of these Amazon sellers go to, it's just building real estate on Amazon, ranking for keywords and having products that convert well, but maybe the customer's not building a relationship with the brand. They might not even know who they're buying from. So how do you go from like being that real estate on Amazon to building the relationship and having multiple products you can sell to somebody? That's like step one to getting the iconic status. And then if you're an iconic brand, they're not just going to buy on Amazon. If your Amazon listing's not there, they're going to find you somewhere else. And people are just going to be Googling and talking, and they're going to find you wherever you're at. So, and like another brand recently that I think started as an Amazon brand that I heard about was High Key Keto Snacks, if you've heard of them. So that's another example of one that recently kind of made that transition from like Amazon seller to iconic brand. And I think they sold for like a couple $100 million or something like that recently. So there's a big upside to building a brand. Like the larger acquirers, not just the aggregators, will want to spend a lot more on a brand that like has that loyalty that they can see a huge product line being built out around. So did I answer your question?
Yeah. So like, if I understand you correctly, when you're looking for a brand to build, it's not a one-off. If I'm looking for, I don't know, it might be a fly trap, a moth trap, right? When you want to go in and you want to check out that moth trap, you want to make sure that you could build out the brand so it has all sorts of other, and I shouldn't even use that because it's going to, pesticide will come up. But anyways,
Don't
you know
get
what
me
I
started
mean?
about pesticides. Wow.
Oh my gosh. But it could go very wide. It's not just concentrating on the one niche. It can go wide and you can build.
Well, you can be a household name in a very specific sub niche if the market's large enough. Like I think in fly traps, like pest traps, there are some iconic brands that people really know and recognize just because they've been around for so long. Like, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily good reputation, but Raid, like everybody knows the brand name Raid. I'd say that's like an iconic brand. But how do you get to that level if you're starting online? You have to do something different and get the message out quickly enough before, you know, one of these large conglomerates like copies your product and takes all the shelf space, right? So we have 9 criteria that I kind of look at, and if I can make that transition to the iconic brand where people are really like building the relationship with the brand rather than just buying whatever's on Amazon. So one of the criteria is brand name. So when I'm vetting these brands, like that's what the first one I look at, because it's kind of difficult to change brand name. If you already have all these listings on Amazon, like you can technically do it. But if you change a brand name, like, yeah, you don't want to have to re-communicate to everyone. Now we're, you know, DustX instead of, you know, this really hard to spell thing that nobody could find. It's like I'm looking at spreadsheets like with a whole bunch of brands on them a lot of the time, and it's like the brand names, I just don't know why people choose some of these. Nobody knows how to spell it. Nobody knows how to pronounce it. Doesn't have any significance. That's another thing. Like if it's like really generic and it doesn't really stand for anything, it's kind of like you're kind of fighting an uphill battle. You can do it, but it's tough. So brand name is one criteria.
You know, Ryan, that's a great point. I like talking about, like, I'm a brand guy. So when I start looking or talking to people about this, people will go over, they'll try to get something on a .com. They'll end up doing either a 30-character long name or something that has hyphens in it or something that has a misspelling in it. And they don't understand, by putting in that misspelling, that could be a real problem.
Right.
And the other thing is you want to check consistency. So there's a domain out there called name, I think it's NAM check or NAME check, CHK. And you punch your domain in and you can see right across all the social media platforms whether it's there or not. And you could go in and get your domain name, but it might not be available on any social media platform. But it's so important to go out. And like we've talked, I don't know if you'd agree with me on this, but there's other domains out there that bring equity. It doesn't have to be a .com. Like I just had Cigar Club, but I've got, you know, it's a premium domain, very expensive domain, but it's premium. And it should bring equity at the end of the day because I'm building a community around cigars. Right?
Absolutely.
So anyways.
Yeah. And like just the fact that you have that brand name that's very easy to spell and sounds catchy, like people, they really will like imbue a lot of value to what you're doing. They think that you're official because you have that domain too.
Exactly.
So,
And you rank in about 2 weeks on Google. So that's
yeah.
not bad either.
That's great.
But okay, so that was your first criteria. What are a
Yeah.
couple of others?
Yeah, just a brief note on that. So the brand name, if example like Athletic Greens, it's a green powder. You would think like, okay, this brand name, it sort of limits them to selling, green things that promote athleticism and healthiness, right? But if the market's large enough, they have become, I'd say, an iconic brand, because most people that are in the market for buying healthy green stuff, like they know who they are, and they've really focused in on one product. So you don't need to like make it so you can expand into a whole bunch of different categories per se, but the category needs to be something that there's like a passionate and large enough audience behind, or that you can build that audience behind, like Athletic Greens. So that's like an example of a focused product, focused brand name, but also iconic in that it's a sub niche. So,
Right.
Yeah, the second thing I wrote down here, so brand style messaging. This is a lot easier to fix over time rather than the brand name, I'd say. And this really is like, there's a couple different components to it. So there's this trend for like a story brand approach where, some like nutrition companies, they'll have like the founder who had cancer, and then they got this product, and then they started their healthy transition, and now they have a whole line of products that are like healthy. So yeah, there's brands that have like the story behind it, and people, when they run ads and they have this story, people will resonate and have like emotional attachment to supporting that business versus just buying like whatever else is competing against them or whatever ad hits them, because they have this relationship to the brand and like the story. So that's like kind of part of the style and the emotional appeal that we can build. It doesn't need to be there. And like one of the brands that I was looking at and that we're looking to invest in, they're like in the home cleaning category, and they really didn't have any story. And I was talking with them like, so how did you pick your brand name? Like, it's an interesting brand name. And they just said, I thought that the customers would like it, because the brand name had like girls. It had a gender assigned to it, and none of the founders were girls, and they had no connection to female things at all. They just picked it because they thought girls would want to buy the product.
That sounds like a typical guy, though.
Right. Right. But yeah, we can add a story. We can add some significance to it. We can find somebody to represent the brand and kind of push that message in the right direction. But the fact that they're just kind of winging it to make it seem like it does kind of work, but there's no significance behind it. So
right.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And this is where you would go. And it's so nice right now when you can do these mini focus groups on like Usability Hub or over at PickFu. And this used to cost a ton of money back in the day to try to, get some feedback, but you could go to your specific demographic right now, ask questions, and really see if you're on track or not.
Yeah, I think those big data surveys used to be like tens of thousands of dollars, right? So now you can do like micro tests. Like they definitely solved a huge problem with PickFu. That's great that you can use that now. So yeah, brand style messaging. A lot of it's aesthetics too. Just how do they have a consistent color scheme, font scheme? Are their listings consistent with one another across their website and on Amazon? All the channels, does it look consistent? A lot of these like smaller Amazon sellers, they just are kind of throwing darts at the board, working with different agencies, piecing things together, using different font. It doesn't create like a sense of unity of all the products in the brand. So it just that's something we can fix, but I see that there's a lot of problem with that too. So if I see that they don't have that, that's actually a plus for me if they're already doing pretty well.
Right.
We can ramp it up.
Yeah. So going and from your Amazon listing, even staying consistent with the fonts that you're using on your e-commerce page, and that carries over to social media. I think, Kelsey, don't let your head grow big, but Kelsey does a great job of keeping our consistency with the brands, the color, the fonts, everything
Absolutely.
Across social media, our website, everything. So anyways, it's so important because somebody is going to go and it's these little things that add up between you and your competitor.
Right.
Authority equals trust equals sales.
Yeah. And that's all Kelsey doing that too, right? Not Hayden.
Yeah, Hayden, okay. No, but just he checking. Wants to take over.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, so those are the first two criteria. I'll just keep going on if that's cool with you.
Sure.
So the next one I look at is domination in the sub niche. So when people are searching like, keto cookies or something, like how many how likely are you to see that brand pop up in Google and whatever search engine you use, Amazon? Like, are they advertising aggressively? Do they have rankings? Do they have multiple listings? Um, there's like different ways to scale brands. You can scale, I call it horizontally or vertically. So you already have a rabid following behind like a certain type of product. Like you could just launch more similar variations like that product, and the chance of success is higher, I'd say, because you've already proven the market and they already have an interest in it, versus say like launching a brownie instead of a cookie. Like you might completely flop on that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you launch like a different type of cookie, like you're already known for that. People are like searching for you. And when I launch products in my brand too, like I focus a lot more on the proven winners and finding different ways to like vary those and like really fill all the gaps in the market for any way they could possibly want to consume that product. So
when you're marketing on Amazon, are you targeting your own brand on PPC?
With PPC, yeah, I do. I think it's like under 5% of budget, just because it can really it can really eat a lot of your budget if you just bid on your brand name too, and it's kind of like a balancing act. You don't want to overspend too much, but yeah, a lot of competitors bid on it, so you have to be sort of defensive with your PPC campaigns to stop those offensive attacks from taking the visibility on Amazon, especially because there's so many brands like competing for eyeballs. Different story on your website though, of course, where it's just you.
Right.
So,
one thing I forgot to mention to everybody, that you have a really great giveaway today. You want to just talk about that for a second?
Oh yeah. So I'm a partner with Boost Rooster co-owner, and I just thought for you guys with the Beard Nation, I think you call it, right?
Right.
Right. So Beard Nation, we can give you a 1-year free Boost Rooster subscription, which would typically be, I think, like $800 or more.
Wow.
$900.
All right.
So,
Okay.
we can give one of those away.
Fantastic. That's a great giveaway. So if you're interested in that, that'll be hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. If you want to enter twice, it'll be just tag 2 people, either on this channel or outside. Kelsey, we have another giveaway today too from Marsha, right?
That is correct. So we have one from Staywell Copper from our Beard Nation member, Marsha Reese. So every Monday we give away a copper phone plate. Me and Norm all have one like this. And it helps kill germs with the back of your phone because you're constantly touching it.
Which you're not allowed to see on Amazon.
You just got suspended.
So visit. But please visit staywellcopper.com for more information about it. And this giveaway is only US and Canada. So that is hashtag I want to stay well. So everyone put those in the comment section. So we got 2 giveaways. And yeah, all that information's in the comment.
Okay. So just following up on what you were just talking about with Amazon. So you spend 5% of your PPC budget on marketing your brand. And then on Google, are you using Google My Business or anything to market your Google images?
Google Business Manager. I don't do anything to market the images. I do shopping and like brand search defensive stuff. I don't know about the image thing. What is that?
Oh, it's really cool. So with Google My Business, you can just create your own, add your brand, add your product line, and you can add meta description just like you would in Amazon. And then Google will automatically index and put it into Google indexing, as well as it'll be like Google Shopping. So when it comes up, you'll rank, you'll index instantly. You don't have to wait around for the spider. And you'll just, as the more information and the more content you add into Google My Business, they have what's called a searchless search. Is that searches?
Searchless search.
Yeah. And it'll start building up the keywords around your product line. So if I'm selling soap, it'll talk about natural soap, handmade soap, whatever it is, and start marketing on our behalf. So it's like Google Image. It'll automatically be inserted into Google Image, but with a link. As long as your anchor link is going back to your shopping page, then you got a link going right back. It's pretty cool.
Is that new, or they have so many different like features and all these tools that it's hard to keep up sometimes, you know?
Yeah, Google My Business, it was for bricks and mortar, but now they've opened up to brands.
Nice. Okay, got to get on that.
Yeah,
that would be a good. Do you have to pay for those
free
placements or free? Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely need to do that. That's one of those things where like that relates to that domination criteria of like how present are they for different keywords too. So
yeah. Oh, and by the way, like if you do rank for that keyword in Google My Business on a mobile phone, you take up 3 scrolls.
Okay.
Scrolls at the top. You can't become second. It's always 3. You dominate 3 pages of scrolls for that keyword.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's
okay.
awesome.
Definitely gonna get on that. Okay. So the next criteria I look at is sales volume. So I look at the market size, where the market trends are going, and how much of the market sales like are they getting, and you can kind of use some tools to get a rough approximation of like how large they are in comparison to like the top dog. It's easier on Amazon than it is, on Google or on their website where you have no insight into BSR. But sales volume, that's something that we can fix, right? They don't need to be the top seller to eventually be an iconic brand. They could just be in their early stages and they haven't quite found their message, and their product USP hasn't been emphasized in the right way to really break through the market and be like at least number 2 or potentially number 1. It takes time to get that awareness. And like when you're selling on Amazon, it's kind of harder to break through. You need to usually find some other way outside of Amazon to drive that awareness to really break through, just because like Amazon's like a search engine. You're just getting people searching for a specific thing. And for some of these like breakthrough iconic brands, you have to drive awareness to the point where they don't really know what they want until you tell them sometimes. So that's kind of like how we move that lever, the sales volume lever. Mm-hmm. Reviews, social proof. If I see like an Amazon account that it's like potential investment, I look at their catalog. Do they have a lot of accumulated reviews, especially if they hit like the 1,000 review mark? If they have 5 or 6 products that are over 1,000 reviews and they're just not doing well, like they've tapered off, like that's like a gold mine in my opinion, because they have like a lot of like that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars to accumulate that many reviews over the course of a year or 2 years, depending on the category and like how much sales volume they're pushing. But like in nutritional supplements, for example, like 1,000 reviews, if you have a listing with that, like that gives you a pretty big advantage in most subcategories of supplements. And like we can inject brand messaging, better images, consistent images, drive some awareness to it. That can revive something that has like 1,000+ reviews, and it can actually maintain it because it has all that social proof already. So that's something most people probably know about, but there's something about like 1,000 review, the threshold, that really like makes it a lot easier. That's like such a hard number to get to for most products.
Right.
So yeah, I've got 4 other criteria here. Household name. So I kind of talked about Athletic Greens earlier. A lot of people watching this might not be into like green juice powder and all that stuff, and they might not know who Athletic Greens is. But if you are more of like a biohacker, healthy person, you like to try to optimize everything, like you probably know who they are because they're just kind of present on all channels at this point. You listen to podcasts, they have ads. You go to Google after visiting their website, they're targeting you with display ads all over the place. I get hit with Facebook ads all the time, even though I've never bought anything from them, just because they probably know, like, I sell supplements. I'm always on supplement websites, so they're constantly hitting me, and it's like I hear about their brand name like every 2 days, even though I don't want to. So, yeah, it's like that's an example of like, and I know they have like a rabid following, people that keep subscribing. So household name. It doesn't need to be like everyone that knows, just the avatar, the customer that you're focusing on. Do they know about it, or have they heard about it at least?
No, I like that. It's those 7 touch points, right? The
Right.
more you hear, it's going to become a household name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the next criteria, this one is kind of harder to engineer. It's better if they kind of already have given you some of the legwork up front when you're investing in a brand. If it's innovation, and this kind of relates to the USP of the product, have they done something that's actually better or different? They're emphasizing something in a different way than what's on the market. So a lot of brands, what they'll do on Amazon is they just kind of do whatever's the cheapest way to get on the platform. So if they're selling like, say, a hand warmer, they'll just go to the supplier that makes hand warmers. There's probably 3-4 other people selling hand warmers. They try to make it look different. There's really no innovation, just because they can't afford to do like the R&D to innovate. But if they're already doing well and they have profit, what they should be doing at some point is reinvesting that profit into like a second version product that actually does something better and different, so that it can really like start to build like awareness and social blog posts about them, YouTube videos. If they actually do something better and different, costs a lot upfront for the R&D work. It's a big risk versus just going to the manufacturer, ordering 500 units. You probably have to order 10,000 plus or more and invest like a significant amount of money. But when you have the money to do that, you should start looking at how do I make something different.
Yeah, exactly. I think you nailed it. These Me Too products, you're just competing with Me Too products. You can change the packaging to make it look nicer, but product innovation, I think, is where it's at right now.
Right. And that's something that this group I'm working with, like we really emphasize that is super important for survivability on Amazon and all platforms really, because if you're just going for real estate on Amazon, like people can copy what you're doing, they can mark your price down, and eventually the market's kind of all replicate the market leader to some extent. And if there's going to be somebody that comes along eventually that just lowers the price and copies what you're doing, but just kind of constantly moving the needle and keeping things competitive and finding new angles and then trying to get complete domination so people can't really bully their way into that real estate.
I saw this. I use plastic shoe stretcher a lot, just as an example. But this was a true case study that I had, and I was looking for a plastic shoe stretcher for a client, and it came in. It was terrible. There were 7 that were already selling on Amazon. The highest had 3.5 stars for their reviews. I mean, they were all crap. They're all falling apart. The plastic was crappy. The spring was crappy. Told the person not to go with it. The sales were crappy. It was just a few thousand in sales a month. I said, but if you change this around, you spend a little bit more, and you do a wooden shoe stretcher, they were doing 100,000 in sales. And their profit was so much higher. Now they're saturated. You can check out.
They were the first wooden shoe stretcher.
That's what I was telling them to do.
Yeah.
I saw that there was this one company that was dominating with no competition. And the guy, he fell in love with this plastic shoe stretcher idea, and he stuck to it.
Right. So like, yeah, what you would do in that type of situation when you see there's like a problem you can solve, if you're the first one to solve it, you have a first mover advantage, at least for a couple months until somebody tries to rip you off and lower the price.
Yeah.
But as long as you build up that sales volume, review, influx, awareness coming in over that period, and you're really like keeping your foot on the pedal, and then after that period, you find every other way that you can attack that angle. Like, can you make a different size? Can you do a different type of wood that does the job better? And just make a whole bunch of different listings so that there's no way somebody can like come at you from a different angle. They're always going to try, but really scaling vertically and like building like a fortress around that product. Like that's, if you have a winner, that's what you should probably be looking at. Right.
Okay. How many more?
Just 2 more. So
good.
So I can stop now if you want.
No, I'm saying good that, okay. This is good stuff.
Yeah. So the following, this one, it kind of, when I'm looking at like a brand I want to invest in, I can see it from both angles. Like if they have a low following and they're doing well, it's like, okay, we can find a way to make the products unique, get a following, put it in the hands of influencers, run ads. Or on the other flip side, do they have 800,000 people on Instagram that are commenting and super passionate, and they're just like really not doing well on Amazon for whatever reason? Because like my specialty is like getting Amazon awareness, and I'd say like my second focus is the other stuff. But if somebody's already kind of done a lot of the other stuff, and I see like a gap in Amazon where they could like take their audience and push it to make another channel that maybe even like eclipses what they're doing on the other side of things, like there's 2 different ways to look at it. And it's more common, these brands I'm looking at, that they have very little social engagement, I'd say, especially when they're like already selling on Amazon. If they are on Amazon, the social engagement, they haven't really put much effort into it. So hope that makes sense. So there's 2 different ways to look at it. And then the last thing, it's kind of more of a philanthropic, like goodwill thing. It's are they doing good in the world? Are they like donating? Are they doing something that drives like positive, like earned media, like press to them? Just by, say like they, or like Tom's Shoes, they're donating a shoe for every one they sell. Like if they're the first one to do that, it gets a lot of awareness. But if they're the 15th one to do that, nobody really cares anymore. And everybody just kind of knows like Tom's Shoes is the one that's doing that. Can you find a unique like way to do good that really gets your brand like plugged into these different audiences that really are passionate and they like sharing stuff?
And you can't fake it.
Right.
If you're like putting an insert in with your brand all over it, and you look like you're just doing it for promotion, it's going to come through as, you know, you're just a big fake. If you can do it where, you know, for us, we have one brand that we have a product that goes to a charity page, right? They go, our brand's not even on it. They can donate if they like. We provide a 10% of, or actually with one of the products, it's 100% of the profit that goes back to the charity.
Yeah.
But you don't see our brand. You know, it's kind of just a goodwill thing.
Right.
Do
you tell your customers at all about that?
Yeah, it's on an insert that it's gonna that this happens. But here's the link. Click on it and go over, and then we just let them take it from there. Plus, there's an option that they can donate more, which is great. So usually it's the charity doing most of the promotion that we're doing for them. But yeah, we don't want to be known as that. And that's the thing. I mean, if you're going out there blasting your name that you're doing this for this charity, I look at that as not really a great citizen. You're just getting great promotion.
Right. And I think like in an ideal world, what you would do is just donate and not tell anybody.
Yeah.
But I guess kind of trying to create a hybrid where you are doing good with the brand and you're also, if you're going to tell somebody, that's going to help your sales, but you don't want to tell people just for the purpose of getting the more sales, right? So it's kind of like a balancing act.
Yeah. And, you know, at the end of the year, if you want to do that as a company and you want to do this anonymously without telling anybody, you can absolutely do it, you know, but I do think it's good that, especially if it's for a good cause, you know, doing something in a third world country that could help a village or something like that. People have a feel good when they know that some of the profit is going back, and make sure that some of the profit is going back.
Right. And give people a chance to buy their everyday things and also do good with that money. So that's, there's sometimes a gap in the market where they want to like, you know, help people get shoes in Africa, but they don't know how to do it. But you buy shoes from this company, they're going to help you do that. So it's more scalable, and it's kind of like, this is something that we want to add to every brand that we invest in, find a way to do something that's beneficial to the customers that they serve. So,
yeah, very good. So Kelsey, I like to be able to just put the 9 different tips that you just gave down on our show notes, Kels, and that would be great. I think each one of those were fantastic.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can share it too.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. The other thing I want to talk about is the mistakes that people make. Right. Building a brand. What are some of the ones right off the top of your head that, you know, come to mind?
I think the first one that comes to mind is when the brands that I'm looking at, they already have achieved some level of success. Otherwise, I wouldn't be looking at them, because like, they have to have at least 500,000 in annual revenue to get on my list at all, because I want somebody who's already done some of the groundwork and gotten a little initial traction, because it's a lot easier for us to take something that already has customers and profit coming in and improve that. And that's something that I learned from coaching a lot of people privately, and that's kind of why I stopped doing the private coaching is no matter how good my intentions are, I can't control what their daily actions are. If I tell them, you know, go do this, and then they just ignore me, and then they come back 3 months later and say, oh, you know, my sales are down 25%. Can you refer me to some place where I can liquidate my inventory? It's like, okay, well, what about these things I talked about with you? Yeah, and that gets really, really like depressing for me. I don't like seeing that failure, and I feel like some level of responsibility, like I should step in and fix it. But it's like when you've got so many people with so many problems, it's like really draining on me, because like I like to do things correctly. Like I'm super OCD about it, and when I can't control it. So the problem I see is like the people that I would see that have problems and they fail, it's like the product, they didn't give enough thought into how to stand out in the marketplace. Like that's the major thing. If they didn't do that right, there's really no chance at all. The the next thing is for the brand perspective. When they have a proven winner, they don't double down on it or find different ways to attack that market. They try to, say they're selling like a back scratcher that's really unique, and they're like, oh, I see another opportunity over here in pest control. The market's booming. Like, I'll just make another brand in pest control, and they just keep launching more and more brands instead of focusing their capital where it should be. So lack of focus. Those are the problems that I'm trying to solve with this new thing I'm doing. Instead of like coaching 50 people privately and losing contact when they do something that I didn't tell them to do, investing in a small number and actually having hands-on to pull the levers that we know can grow the brand. So
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about on the coaching side. When you're seeing something that's obvious and the person doesn't, take advantage of it, there's nothing you can do. And you feel kind of useless if the person can't execute, especially I've seen it where this affected cash flow. Person's going really wide. They're investing in all these other brands because they think they have money, but they've got one home run happening, and they could make it explode. But they've got some cash, so they go wide, and then usually what you'll find is the brand just dies.
Yeah, and like a thing that commonly happens in the space too is somebody makes like, say, a really successful pet brand and they exit, and then after that they've tried to find something else to do and they go into a completely different niche where they really could have just made another pet brand. They're already an expert at it. Just keep doing the same thing you already know how to do. Like, why reinvent the wheel? So to be really good at one niche and one type of product and have your finger on the pulse, like, it's hard to do that with so many different things. So if you don't have the team to manage that and like really take ownership of it, it's tough to grow when you're like in those startup stages where you're like under 10 million, right? If you're not focusing on one thing.
So if you're on Amazon and you're selling and you want to get over to that e-commerce side, Shopify or WooCommerce, how much time, how much effort do you spend on that?
Yeah. So I started that process when I was like 2.5 years in, and now I'm like 5.5, 6 years in. The time to actually get enough traction where you're profitable, like, it really varies. Like, if your product is great, there's sort of like a balancing act. Like, is your product so stand out that you don't even have to market it? That does happen a lot of the time. Less often than I actually wouldn't say a lot of the time. Like, that's kind of like the exception. But it's either you're going to have to find a channel to market your product in a cost-effective manner where you can acquire the customers more cheaply than I'm really tired, so I'm having a hard time wording the sentence. But
That's
can you
okay.
acquire the customer for less than they pay you over the long term? These lunch with Norm things are like the East Coast time, right? So I'm like not used to talking like 9 a.m.
And your new dad, so completely understand.
Yeah, she was screaming at 4 a.m. So I'm like, oh, jeez. Right. So 6 months or so, I guess, is how much time you should really like focus in, trying to experiment with different channels. And then when you find one that's getting some traction, going more into that channel and finding a way to scale it. So if you're trying to get your eComm store to work, it's really like, can you improve the conversion rate on your store by looking at stores that are already doing it? Can you optimize the lifetime customer value so you can pay more to acquire customers? When you have those two things in mind, as you're looking for a traffic partner, a way to generate demand, it gets a lot easier. But if you're just trying to generate demand and you're not focusing on the website and the conversion and the customer value, then you have to look at all three of those things at once. And with Facebook changing, like, who knows if Facebook's going to be the best way to do that? You might need to advertise on Pinterest or generate like an organic media strategy where you're posting blog posts and doing press releases and things like that. There's a lot of different ways to generate demand, but finding one that works and then going more in that direction as much as you can. That's right. How you get it to work.
And you have to be careful. It's not like Amazon where you can spend X amount of money because you don't have a captivated audience. You've got to find your audience. So to understand your audience is probably the most important thing. And then you've got to be careful with your ad spend. and the amount of money that you're spending on everything, because you can spend a ton of money building out your website and putting in these apps that are costing whatever it is per month.
Right.
Then you're doing your social media, and you've got all these social media companies that you're outsourcing to do that. It all adds up. So you've really got to concentrate and understand how much money you're spending outside of Amazon.
Right.
And maybe just have a budget, have a budget. And if you go over the budget, you've got to rethink. And this is the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You can move on a dime, right? You can make decisions. But
right. Yeah, I'd say the budget's a really good point. If you're like an Amazon seller, you start on the Amazon platform, probably don't give much thought to finding another way to drive awareness until you're like 50K plus in revenue. Then you can kind of experiment a little bit here and there. But yeah, I mean, getting the Amazon thing dialed in, once you kind of figure out how to get the reviews and the ranks and things are humming along and you have consistent profit, and you have a little bit of profit to experiment, setting like how much of your monthly profit will you devote to experimentation of adding another way to drive awareness? How much of that is going to be towards inventory? How much of it's going to go to new product launches? And those are the expensive things.
And I do want to just mention again, I say this, I don't know, I've said it 100 podcasts, but know your numbers. And there is one of the guys, another Canadian, Tim Francis. He's got a great course called Know Your Numbers. Duh. So, so it's called The Profit Factory, and go over there. I believe we have a code for it. It's not an affiliate, but I think you get $500 off. I think, but it's a great course. My team goes, and even though they might be on the creative side, they take it to know and understand your numbers. It's not an accounting course. It's just get in there, understand where and what you have to calculate to move forward and be profitable.
Yeah. Is it just sort of like you go through it yourself, or do they have
you go through it yourself. It's already the way that it was made is it was set up, and then there was a new version of it that went over sort of an 8-day period. So he's got quite a few. It's not like a 2-hour course. It's very, very in depth, but he makes it really interesting. So it's great. You can take a little or you can take a lot. And the other thing he has is understanding Excel formulas. So putting together really simple Excel formulas that give you the answers that you need. So, people have Excel, but they only know 2% of Excel.
Yeah.
Well, go to 7% and see the difference that it'll make in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had those conversations with some staff where they have on their resume like proficient in Microsoft Excel. So I'm like, okay, so can you help me with this? And they're like, I don't know. So proficient, does that mean you know how to open Microsoft Excel and type in the cells, or do you actually know how to do the formulas? Because there's a whole another tier of knowledge in Excel. It's really crazy how complicated it gets. You have to be a programmer basically.
Yeah. So just completely off a topic, but just listen, if you don't know your numbers and you want to learn a bit more about Excel, check out profitfactory.com. He's got a list of his courses there. And I believe, Kels, I'm not sure, but we might have a $500. I think it's a $500 discount. So it ends up being $495 rather than $997. All right. Let's see. Just before we get to the questions, if you are interested in getting the plan today, and Ryan, what was it? It was 1 year?
1 year free.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so it's 1 year free. That's an $800 value. Just put in hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get an extra entry. And also with Marcia Reese's Stay Well Copper, I want hashtag I want to stay well. That's for North American or Canada and US only. Okay, Kels, questions.
Okay, so let's jump into this. We had a couple questions come in. Let me see. All right, first one from Simon. An awesome brand story will always protect from being ripped off with cheap copies. Brand reputation takes time, effort, and persistence to build. How do we build a moat around our new brand?
Great question.
That is a great question. I like that he used the word moat as well.
Yeah.
So part of that is doing something different and getting enough awareness before somebody else takes like the market awareness from whatever you're doing. So if you have, say, a new type of back scratcher and you have an innovative way of doing it and nobody on Amazon is doing that in that way, put it on the market and then find a way to get it in the hands of influential people as quickly as you can before somebody copies you.
Provisional patent.
Yeah, that too. I was going to mention that. So yeah, that's kind of like a given, right? You want to protect your IP. And if you're inventing something, find a way to legally protect it in the US or whatever country you're selling it in. So the other thing that you can do is find other angles and other different ways to approach this problem and use this patent that you filed and this new type of innovation. Can you make it a different size, different color? Just flood the market with as many different unique and valuable ways that you can find to do it if it's already successful. You don't need to do that right away. Like really focus in on getting the first one in the hands of some people that can really push awareness, and then find, I'd say, just one traffic channel that you can really scale spend or awareness. Typically, it's not going to get like total brand recognition and like a dominant reputation unless you're spending like $500 or $1,000 a day in ads. You have some sort of like organic strategy or influencer strategy where you're getting in the hands of like several people per day consistently. Unless you find like one influencer like Kim Kardashian or somebody that just everybody knows, and you work out that sort of deal, and then that sort of sparks the fire where everybody's telling everybody about it organically.
Yeah, I like that approach. And the other thing is building a heavy layer of content. So either really high quality press releases that'll get you ranked, that if you do have any competition, you'll knock them out of, like we did with Amazon, with DSP advertising. We knocked Amazon down to number 2 and number 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then they actually ended up contacting our client saying, what are you doing? But and stop. But that happened. But that was strictly with content, right?
Yeah.
And that's one way of being able to get out there. Somebody's writing up keywords. Like I love the content play. I love the influencer play that you talked about too. If you get it out there and people get to know about it, it's you they're talking about and not your competition.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I also do personally for my brand is building a list and nurturing the list with weekly messages so that they're constantly thinking about you. And when conversations come up, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember this brand name." Like if they're not constantly seeing your brand name, they might forget it, and you might just kind of drift into the back catalogs of their mind, and they'll move on to something else. But you can email your list once a week, and building a list is valuable. The other thing that I built, which was valuable, maybe the strategy won't be viable in the coming years, is Facebook groups around topics. It depends what demographic you have as well. Like older, I'd say Facebook's more of like the older senior citizen type social network at this point.
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm still there too, so I feel like I'm an old soul, right? Yeah, like building these groups, and the value of the group is people will see it in their feed every time they open their phone, their Facebook. They're constantly seeing people talk about your brand in this group if you set up the group right. It gets a lot more awareness than pages these days. So those are ways to build the moat. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, great. From Howard, any measurements of customer satisfaction that you analyze and evaluate in the process?
Yeah, I have a system for my website I can speak of first. Is whenever there's a bad review or some like slight negative comment that comes into customer support, we note those down, and then during our staff meetings we talk about what their recurring problems are. If there's a problem that pops up a couple times over the course of a month, then we find like how can we address this and improve the product. So I sell supplements. Some of them have taste. Like if people say like, oh, the taste on this batch wasn't good, then we hear that like 3 times, and we're going to go contact the manufacturer and be like, all right, what's up? Like it's not consistent. and fix it. But if you don't have like a process to like note down problems, and then you have somebody look at like what are the common problems, then you meet and actually address it, things just kind of stay mediocre forever. So recursive improvement. How do you measure satisfaction on Amazon? Like it's reviews and voice of the customer, I guess, is somewhat useful, but not so much. It's really like reviews and conversations with customers. So having somebody that actually is engaging in dialogue, and Facebook groups are also valuable for that, because we hear, problems with products pop up in the group and we address it publicly, and people see that you addressed it, and then that spreads word of mouth and goodwill for the brand too. So there's a lot of value to that.
I think if you're going to be doing a survey, poll, or whatever it is, a customer satisfaction survey, don't make it complicated. Like if I see this, you hit the end, I'll do it. I hit one and there's 17 questions to go. I just, escape. One question, how are we doing? And if it's 7 or below, it's a negative. 8 and above, okay, we're doing good. Right.
Yeah. I'm like one of those people that's never filled out a customer satisfaction survey. So I'm kind of like, who is actually doing this? It's who has the time. But the reviews, like if I'm really happy with the product or really not happy, I'll usually say something. If it's in the middle, I won't say anything. So I've never actually like done much of like a, how are we doing, like broadcast email. Probably makes sense to do that, at least to collect like likes and dislikes of customers and segment your list. But I haven't done that. Do you have any service that you use for that?
Yeah. What is the service? I can get back to you, but
Okay.
it's a common service.
Okay.
Something survey.
Survey Monkey.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah. Pick the animal.
Yeah, exactly. Or survey giraffe or something.
Yeah. We're the Boost Rooster. So
yeah.
pick your animal.
All right. Next question, Kels.
Okay, from Tony, I'm looking for an opportunity to sell outside of Amazon. Do you think which is the best place to move to, Shopify or Walmart?
Okay. So Walmart is going to be the easiest to capture existing demand. Shopify is easy to set up, I'd say. Very rudimentary framework. You can set it up and you can integrate Shopify with Walmart. So it doesn't really hurt to, if you just have a couple products, put it on Shopify, pay $30 a month. I think the Walmart app to set up the connection with Shopify and Walmart is free. So I kind of use Shopify as like a central hub for the orders, and I pull in the Walmart orders and it ships from there. So you can kind of do both. But if you want to see results, like you're probably going to get those more quickly on Walmart than Shopify, because Walmart's a search engine. There's people searching for products. It's similar to Amazon, just less volume.
Right. Make sure you read the Walmart terms of service, because you don't want to just copy and paste your Amazon listing.
Right. Yeah, the listings will come out really ugly on Walmart if you just copy and paste. Like there's so many formatting things. And like just symbols, like hashtags or pipes. You'll get it published, but your ranking will be low. Right. Yeah, they just won't index you, right? And you won't know what's going on.
Right.
Okay, great. From Simon, you mentioned avatars. What is your technique of building out your personas?
Right. That's a good question. We have like a branding partner that we use to do that. I'm not entirely sure how they do it at scale, but what I did personally for mine is I started selling products that had existing demand. I learned about the customers through conversations with them and reading reviews. Building a community, and I could kind of see like what they were interested in, what other products they were buying. I could look at their Facebook profiles and see who they are. So I kind of know like when I'm making an advertisement to get more customers like them, I could just find somebody that looks like them, speaks like them, lives in the same area as them, buys the same types of things as them, has the same problems. So income, gender, age, geographic location, problems they're trying to solve. I look at those things, and that's actually how I found a couple different related products to launch, just by talking with them and seeing like what else they were buying. Because they would say, "Oh, do you guys sell this?" And we say, "No, but we'll work on it. We'll get it to you." So there's categories have things that the customers like expect the brand to sell, like different products, and they all kind of solve the same problem, but they're different things. So just talking with your customer is the first step. And on Amazon, that's tough to do. So find a way to talk with your customer.
Well, with your app, you can build out just
Yep.
an ongoing sort of conversation, just a couple questions at a time, to find out whether they have a pet, what type of pet. Next
Right.
email would go out, or next chat would be small, medium, or large dog.
Right.
And then just build it out that way. That would,
Yeah,
that
you
can
can
help
use
out.
the Boost Rooster product insert tool and start collecting emails and set up an automation where you're sending a survey or asking them questions and getting to know them through that process too. So that's one of the valuable things of product inserts, like getting contact with your customer.
Right. All right, Kels.
Okay, we're just past the hour mark, so we'll just do one or two more questions from Roslyn. When you're evaluating a brand, do you prefer any particular categories of products and the story behind the brand when selling on Amazon? Do you suggest telling it in the listing or in the A+ contents?
Yeah, my personal preference, and it's kind of interesting how everything worked out, because I was coaching people in like sort of like a do-it-yourself coaching thing where they would just go through my content and make brands. And part of my criteria was like, I like categories where there's recurring purchases, larger lifetime customer value. It's not just like a one-off buy. If you can find a way to sell multiple related products, or it's something that they're going to buy every month for the rest of their life, like I like those categories. And a lot of people that went through my training ended up building brands that kind of were like that. And now I'm at the stage where it's like I can invest in these brands that kind of got built in the perfect way that I want to invest in them. So I'm actually talking with like some of my students from like 3-4 years ago that built brands using like my preferences, and now it's like so much easier for me to like, it's already what I like. So the question, I was going to answer the rest of the question, but it disappeared.
Kelsey.
Just a second. I'll let's see. There you go.
Yeah. Story behind the brand when selling on GC. Okay. Telling it in the listing or in the A+ content. So the A+ content is in the listing. So you want to have the experience of the story and the brand like in probably one of the main listing images and also in the A+ content in some way. The big thing that most people don't use is the video. If you can find a way to inject it in, if your story is compelling enough, and put it in the video somehow, that's good. I honestly haven't really been able to do that because I've just focused the video. It's like under a minute on showing the product in like a spiffy like looking way, and dress it up and using it and talking about the problems it solves, how many to take. You have limited amount of time, but if you can get the story in the video somehow and your story compelling enough, you can do that too.
Don't forget, you can put your brand story on Amazon store.
You can. Yeah, in your store. That's a good point.
Yeah.
There's also like a widget like on the top of the A+ content, which I don't feel is formatted very well, but I would say you could put it there, but I don't like where the positioning, so I don't put it there.
Right. Oh, and by the
Okay.
way, when you talk about your brand story, don't make it so unbelievable like he climbed Mount Everest, tapped into this mine, went down, mined 300 feet to get this special Himalayan salt.
Unless you did.
Yeah, unless you did.
Maybe.
People will believe you or they won't believe you.
Yeah. Video evidence.
Yeah. Climbing Mount Everest.
All right. And our last question from
Yep.
Anthony. Which social media should I focus on first for product launch and brand awareness?
Right. Well, the one that you're on now is pretty good, Facebook. That's still pretty good. I like TikTok's long-term potential and organic reach a lot. Their ad platform, I'm not super happy with it at the moment. Seems kind of hard to get it profitable and scalable, in my opinion. But organically, if I've seen some brands that have just a few simple 10-second TikTok videos go super viral just because their product's unique. There's this I can't remember the name, but they sell these like ice cream cone chop. It's like the ice cream cone, the bottom of the cone, they just chopped off the bottom part and created a snack out of it. And they posted a video on TikTok of just them putting like an ice cream cone on a cutting board and chopping the end off and saying like, we made a product where you just eat this, and it's like 10 seconds, and they got like 16 million views on that. So I'm like, 10 seconds of content using a phone, just if the product's good enough, like you can really hit a home run. And they've like exploded just from TikTok from doing that. So
Mm.
another thing you could do, like find a way to, there's this brand that sells like shoes. I saw a pretty interesting campaign they ran, and they found like their target customer at their work setting, and they went there and they gave the shoes to those people and they recorded the reaction, and then it had a really big like emotional response, and people like to share and comment and like engage with emotional type videos where it's feel good. So there's unique ways you can approach it, but TikTok's good for organic, I'd say.
Yeah, I like what you said about the whole reaction side. Like we've gone out and we've done with, I don't know if you know Rob Burns, but marketplace reviews where you go out, to the boardwalk and you already have the questions you're going to ask, and then you get people's response, and that works like magic if you can start promoting that. The only thing I want to add to the social media side is it does depend on your audience too. So, I mean, if your target audience is Pinterest, and I think that would probably be 35 to 45 women, that is a great market. That's got the highest average order value, I believe. But if you were talking about, us older guys, maybe not so much you, but are on Facebook, right? Who's your audience? And if you can know your audience, then you can market it and use that as your one or two social media platform. I wouldn't go across every social media platform. It's just too much. Find one or two.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Initially, find where your customer's most likely to hang out.
Yeah.
Throw enough darts at the board, see if you get something. If not, then pivot, but give it enough time. People quit too early too. Facebook, getting organic traction on Facebook, pretty difficult unless you have a group that really blows up. You're not going to get it from a page. Your posts on your page just don't get visibility because of the way the algorithm is like structured on Facebook. Pinterest, you create a consistent strategy to post useful infographics and things that people want to click and share. Like that can do well. But model success. And I'd say like if you have a social product where you can create quick videos, like in most age ranges and demographics, TikTok like works. It's getting more mass appeal now. Then like on the other side, like you were saying, Pinterest is more like stay-at-home moms who have a lot of money and they're like buying everything for their entire family, I'd say. At least that's my understanding of it. But it works for a lot of different types of products there too, because moms are buying like everything. So
Simon, I saw your comment there, and yes, you could use me to go out and do that.
What was the question?
Oh, it was to use attractive people, young people.
Yeah.
So
if you're going to approach people in the street, would you?
Do you have any beard oil like sponsorships or anything? Like,
that's what you know what? I don't even sell one single beard oil product.
What's the deal?
I know I should. I got to get into that.
I know a few like beard brand owners. Like, ping them if you want.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got there?
That was just a comment. TikTok videos showing awesome customer reactions could make great uploads to a listing as long as they're sincere. That's very true. From Caring Family.
Yeah. I've also seen fake TikTok reaction videos get a lot of negative reactions.
And there's so many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Kel, so I think it's that time.
It's time for the wheel.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, so this one is for the Stable Copper giveaway.
All right.
Let me just go over it. If you are the winner, please email me at k@lunchnorm.com. Hopefully I got everyone. And 3, 2, 1.
Where's the song, Kels?
I know. We're still working on that.
Okay. There you go, Rad.
All right. Rad is the winner.
Rad.
Fantastic. So you know how to, you've won a few times. So you know how to get a hold of Kelsey.
Yeah. I have Rad's email.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Here we go.
Ooh, look at that.
For the year subscription to Boost Rooster. 3, 2, 1. Wheel of Kelsey.
There you go.
And the winner is...
I can't even read.
Oh, Andrew C.
All right.
Ooh, yeah.
Congrats,
All right.
Andrew.
Congratulations. So
Nice.
Andrew, I
Right.
have your contact information, but please email me, kate@lunchwithnorm.com, and I'll connect you.
And that was a
with the
great
code.
prize.
Yeah. Also, just to add an additional thing for anyone who has a brand that's selling like 500K plus a year and they want somebody to kind of look at it, see if it's something that is investable from my perspective or things that I would improve. Like I can take a couple questions over the next like 2 days if they message me in the next 48 hours.
Okay.
Just want to cut it off, give a little scarcity. So
Yeah, there you
feel
go.
free.
48 hours. Time
Yeah,
is ticking
send me a
now.
message. Facebook, I can answer
And
it.
would that be on Facebook or
Yeah,
have you?
I'm in the group, the Norm
Okay.
Lunch with Norm group. You can find me, send me a message. I'll check that.
Okay, fantastic. Sir, thank you. I know you've had sleepless nights. I'm so glad that you were able to come back and talk about this.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And it's been a while, but great show.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
And thank you for those 9 points. I think, that was something that everybody needs, is to understand those 9 points. It's so important. So thank you for dropping that knowledge, and we will have you on. Hopefully it'll be sooner than later.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe we can meet in person at some point.
I hope.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, we'll
Thanks.
see you later.
Thanks, Norm. Bye.
Thanks. Okay, so we have we have on Wednesday, is there Brenda Ruby coming back on, Kels?
Sure is. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That'll be episode, third time we'll
Yeah.
having her on. So it's
Yeah,
always great
so
to talk to her.
if you don't know Brenda, she had a 9-figure exit, so that's not bad. She and her partner created Snow, and they, by the way, were one of these people that did an incredible marketplace review shoot on that boardwalk that I was talking to you about. And maybe what we can do is share some of those videos just to show what we're talking about during her show. But anyways, I can't wait. She's always interesting to talk to. And she's going to be talking, what's she going to be talking about? What's the subject?
I believe building an eComm team. So
Oh,
the
that's
process,
right.
What she looked for. So it's gonna
Yeah,
be-
so that's really
interesting.
important. Okay, so I think that's probably it for today's show. You're going to remind me about something, and I already know what it is. I want to give a great big thank you to our sponsor, Global Wired Advisors, a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing the business sales process. For more information, please visit globalwiredadvisors.com. That's it for today, Kels.
Yes, all right. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We had some new viewers again today, so that's awesome. I saw some questions about if we have a Facebook group, and the answer is of course we do. That is the Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and eCommerce Collective. So you can search with that. So we have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. So they are different. So make sure you head on over to the Facebook group too. That's where our whole community is. That's where you can ask questions, share some memes, all that fun stuff is over there. And if you are looking for more of the beard, if you want to just donate a cup of coffee monthly too, we have something for you. That is our Patreon, our paid membership group. So if you're looking for full private group Q&As as well as guest lessons, we have our private gold and platinum membership Q&A tomorrow too at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to have a very small group discussion just about anything that's happening with our group there. So if you're interested, go over to the Lunch with Norm site and click on membership, and you'll be all set. And I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And you join us again next Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Eastern Standard Time at noon. Thank you, everybody, for joining the community. We really appreciate you being a part of it. We couldn't do this without you. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Lunch with Norm.